This is an energetic practice focusing on the inner arm lines. And the inner arm lines from your armpit out to your fingertips are really important for the flow of energy through these meridians and nadis from the arms out through the hands. This is the place where the tissues, the lung tissues, and the blood vessels inside the arms pass from arms to chest. And we're going to stretch out those areas with this practice. Inhale, open your arms out really big, opening your chest, lift your chin up to the ceiling, a little bit of an arch in the back. And then as you exhale, round your spine and take your hands together in front of you, drop your chin. Interlace your fingers here, and then bend your elbows and pull your chest to your hands and your hands to your chest. Flip your palms out with your fingers still interlaced. Lift your gaze up to the ceiling, keep your triceps active, and then as you inhale, lift your arms up, keeping the interlacing of your fingers and the palms flipped up. Here, inhale, open your chest, look up, and stretch your palms back a little farther, and then as you exhale, release your hands apart, opening them back out again to the beginning posture. Exhale, take your hands together. Tapping them in front of you, chin to chest, round out your back. Inhale, pull your hands into your chest, and then flip your palms and press your arms out away again, using those triceps. As you inhale, lift your arms up. You can keep your chin dropped here. Finish the breath, and then on your next inhale, open your chest up to the ceiling, and then exhale, release your arms down. Another big inhale to stretch your hands back, even farther behind you. Feel the energy moving out through the fingertips from the armpits. Exhale, round your spine, tap your fingers in front of you, interlace your fingers, and then chest to hands, chest and hands to chest. So you're pulling the chest forward. And then as you exhale, flip your palms out and round your back. And then you're inhaling, lifting your chest up to the ceiling, opening your arms up to the ceiling, the palms up. And then as you exhale, take your arms out to the side. Big inhale. Again, feel the energy from your chest, from your lungs out through your fingertips, especially as you inhale. All right, hopefully that got those areas woke up for you. A little zing in your arms there. You can feel the energy coursing. So we're going to come into a tabletop position, hands and knees, and take your hands slightly out in front of your shoulders for downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. You're actively splitting your fingers and spreading the bones of your hands. You're activating your feet. You're activating your thighs, pushing out through your heels, and even the bottoms of your feet. Even though this is an arm line focused practice, spread out through the bottoms of your feet as well. You can feel an active, energetic the energy radiating out through your fingers. And then from that radiation out, feel the opposite, the inward drawing up through the center of your palm. And you can feel the inside channel of your inner arm seams really stretching. And there's a dynamic extension upward through both arms and an energetic expression outward through your fingertips. Breathing in from your belly, always using your belly to breathe in through your nose. And feel the energy extend not just from your fingertips up through your shoulders and your armpits, but even up past your waist through your sitting bones, and feeling that length that derives, that energetic awareness. At any point, you can come down to hands and knees and still tap into the active energy of the inner arms. But if you can stay here for a few more moments, really feel the grounding of the arm lines, as well as the uprooting and the energizing of the energy pulling up from the earth from your hands. And so there's a grounding sensation here, even with this buoyancy of the inversion. This is an inversion. All right, we'll take another breath or two here before coming slowly into a tabletop position. So before you come down to knees, look forward and see where your shoulders are going to move over your wrists. So take your shoulders now forward beyond your wrists, and then your knees come down. And then you can walk your hands back in under your shoulders just for a moment here in a tabletop position, especially if you were getting a little dizzy or lightheaded from that inversion. This is a great place just to stay and unwind and just calm down from that inversion. You still feel the energy of the inner arms pressing down from the inner armpit down to the inner wrist and inner thumb. We're going to move into side plank next. So I'm going to take my hands out in front of my shoulders again, tuck toes, and lift my hips up and back into downward facing dog again. In this downward facing dog, though, I'm taking my feet together and squeezing the inner legs and squeezing the inner big toes. And then I'm going to shift forward into a downward facing plank pose and then off to the right. So moving over to the right hand and the right foot, or modifying with the right knee on the floor. Try to avoid overworking the external obliques on the right side so that you're not rounding, so you can feel length from your right hand to your left hand without a curve in the right side. And to do that, you just gently drive your right hip towards the floor as you lift the outer right ankle bone off the floor. And then from here, feel the connection of the energy from your right hand up through your left fingertips. Feeling your chest somewhere in between those 2 points in the center, actually. So you feel your chest existing buoyantly in between your hands, but then you feel it line up in a centered position and express that chest through the shoulder heads. Feel from your right inner armpit, there's energy pressing down, and from your left inner armpit, energy pressing up. And just because the left hand isn't a foundational support point, it's still extremely active and energized. For this practice, your gaze can just stay down on the floor for balance, because I really just want you to tap into those inner arm lines here and that energy channel that runs from your ribs, your lungs out across your shoulders. It's a really important place to open up. Okay, we're going to come out of this in the next moment. So with controlled movement, take your left hand back down to the floor and then come back over into hands and knees position. And then you can sit back on your heels for just a moment. And stack your shoulders over your hips. And you can hold your hands out to the side and just feel the energetic buzz in your fingertips. You maybe even here open your arms out slightly and feel the long lines from your inner armpit out through your elbow, out through your inner forearms, and out through the bottom of your hands, through that fascia in your hands. And then give your hands a squeeze, and you can roll your wrists around a couple times. We're going to move into the second side plank. Take your arms forward, and again, your shoulders are going to come behind your wrists. So you can either walk your hands in front of your shoulders or walk your knees back behind your hips. Situate yourself back into downward facing dog, so you can take your feet together, and here right away squeeze your inner big toes, inner heels, inner ankles, and the inner thighs. Come forward into a plank position and then swing off to that left side. So you're going to turn over to the outer left foot or lower your left knee down to prop your side plank. And again here, remember to drive that left hip down so it's not lifting too high. Lift your outer left ankle and squeeze your ankles together. Pull your toes towards your shins so that your foundation can be steady on the back end, and we can really focus on the front end with your arms. And again, stretch your right arm up overhead. So if you feel like your arm is starting to stretch overhead, maybe give it a peek up and see where it is in space. Sometimes it feels like it's straight up and it's way overhead. Try to line up your hands, your wrists, line up that energetic line. Big arrow here, a big line. Right hand presses up, left hand presses down, and then try to press up from the shoulder blades, from the right shoulder blade, and down from your left shoulder blade. So it's not just the triceps, there's more. It's the back muscles invigorating this line, this energetic line, this nadi, this energy channel. And try to take another breath or two here, and then with controlled, steady movement, we're going to move back down into hands and knees position. So your right hand can come to your hip and then move over to your right hand on the floor. Toes move over to the floor, and then your knees come down. And once again, sit back on your heels. And it's not a really huge stretch out with your arms, but it's just a nice little holding of your arms out away from your sides so you can feel your inner arms aren't squished to the sides of your body. You can feel space there for the energy to move around. Feel this all the way out into your fingerprints, your finger pads, the tips of your fingers. And even here, feel the spreading of the bones in your hands. Even if they're not on the floor, there's still an action in your hands and an awareness. All right. And you can stay here for just a few more moments if you have any hand stretches that you need to do. If you just want to close your eyes down and stay in the moment, hands on your thighs, and just let your arms relax. Because your wrists can get tired from this practice, and we don't want to overtax them. All right, so I'm going to come into plank pose next. And so we already did side plank. Now we're going to take downward facing plank or Adho Mukha Dandasana, which is downward facing staff pose. Once again, your hands come out in front of your shoulders just slightly. And then your shoulders move over your wrists and you drop your hips so that your belly can soften with the breath moving in and out. And the breath moves around a slightly contracted abdominal area. Take your gaze forward, not down. So you look out past the front edge of your mat, so that the back of your head is as high as your heart, if not higher. Back of your head and the back of your heart line up. And then your neck is long, your chest is moving through your shoulders. And there's no rounding in the upper back. And there's not a heavy sagging in the hips, but definitely not a popping up of the hips. So we don't want the hips to flex. Here, use your glutes to extend your hips. And here, feel from the inner arms pressing down to your thumbs and the index fingers, pinching the mat with your fingers. Even as you're pinching the mat, you're evenly dividing those fingers. Squeeze your thighs to help out your arms so that your arms don't get overtired and overworked. They feel energized instead of drained. They feel excited. They feel powerful instead of fatigued and shaky. And so can your back muscles on the shoulder blades help as well? Push down from your back. Use those back muscles to really express your chest and open that front area where those blood vessels are, where that energy line is, where that meridian is. At any point in time, feel free to take your knees down to the floor. I'm going to go ahead and lower and then sit back to the hips to heels variation of a seated position, Vajrasana. And here again, feel those arms. Just let your arms open out. Feel the energy buzzing in your fingers from your inner armpits all the way down through your inner elbows or inner wrists and through the palms of your hands. And feel your breath moving in and out of your nose. Giving your arms a moment to recover. Focus on your breath here. And focus on using your back muscles to lift your chest so you can open those inner arm lines even more. So a taller posture really encourages those long inner arms of the lines. All right, come back over onto the floor, onto your elbows and forearms now. So take your elbows down to the floor under your shoulders and then press your palms together here. You can interlace your fingers if you'd like. And I'm just going to stay here in a tabletop pose with the elbows pressing down. Again, you're going to focus on the inner line of your arm from your armpit down to the inner elbow. I'm resting my forehead on my thumbs. And I'm going to go ahead and interlace my fingers here so that I can rest more of the forehead, hairline, top of the head kind of area on my thumbs. You can stay here in a tabletop position, but really press down into your elbows and activate those inner arm lines. Then if you'd like to add on, you can tuck your toes under and lift your knees up off the floor. And this is dolphin pose. And I don't want to stress out the body by flipping up into headstand and doing anything other than just being in a place where I can feel my arms working. And feel the lineup of your shoulders over your elbows, the backs of your armpits over the back of your elbows. Feel that press down. Feel your triceps pressing into the floor and feel your biceps also working. So the front of that inner line is working as well. And then what about your chest? Your back isn't rounding and it's not collapsing. So there's a muscular engagement along the spine to help facilitate those long inner arm lines and to help move the energy around those lines. You can walk your feet in a little closer if you'd like, but again, don't overtax your elbows, don't overtax your arms, don't overtax your shoulders. Forehead is still resting, or the top of the head is still resting gently on the thumbs. And the core is strong, legs are strong, and the upper back is open. Keep the shoulders engaged, the deltoids And they're pressing down. So you're pressing down towards the earth, really grounding here. Even as the back of those inner arms lengthen longer, there's a sense of grounding and settling. As any other inversion, please come down any point in time, especially if you feel dizziness, lightheaded, or pressure pounding in your head, or like you're getting sweaty in your head's getting sweaty, or you feel like it's getting red. And you know that feeling. But if you have a couple more breaths here, see if you can stay here for a few more breaths. Try to get your legs to help out some of the effort on the arms. So again, you can focus on opening the collarbones, opening the front chest, and moving all of the fluids, all of the energy, all the blood, the oxygen, moving everything along those lines of energy with a little less bumps in the road, some more smooth path. All right, and I'm going to come down here in the next couple of breaths. So as you're ready, slowly start to lower your knees down to the floor. And then once your knees land, you can rest back into child's pose, flip your toes back, and sit back towards your heels with your sitting bones. You can let your arms relax here. And again, feel the energy out through your fingertips. And close your eyes down here and simply focus on your breath. If you want to straighten out your arms and press your arms forward, please do that. Or you could always drape your arms down alongside your legs with your fingertips pointing back behind you, palms flipped up. And just a moment here to ground and feel the length that you've created along the inner crease of your arms from shoulder down to thumb. And notice how your heart is sending energy out through both arms from the center of your chest. And with each breath, notice the softening in your arms, the arm area that just worked so hard. Notice the softening. Notice the quieting of the energy buzz there. And if you haven't already taken your arms alongside your legs and flipped your palms up behind you, you can go ahead and move into that now, just to give those shoulders a rest and feel the downward energetic movement of the shoulders down towards the floor. If you need to readjust your forehead, you can tuck your chin in or out a little bit. And with your palms now relaxed, flipped up, feel here the surrender of that energy, the surrender of that effort in your arms. But the space and the awareness that you've created in that specific area of your body. Just be aware of it with your breath, moving in and out of your nose. And then I'm going to come up to seated here in the next few moments. Please take your time. When you are ready, you can take your hands back to the floor and start to gently press up to seated. And then from seated position, take your time to come up. Your head comes up last. Let your head stack over your shoulders and your shoulders over your hips. I'm going to take a mudra here. So I'm going to take my thumbs into the palms and then curl all my fingers up around the thumbs. Then I'm going to take the backs of my knuckles together and take my pinkies up into my belly and just gently pressing there. I'm going to turn around and face you so you can see here once again. The thumbs come in, curl around with your fingers, backs of your knuckles together, and your pinky fingers right up into your belly. And then just take a moment here to breathe right into those pinky fingers from your abdominals. Breathe from your belly and feel the connection of that energy line, not only moving across your chest and out through your fingers, but from your belly up, out through your arms, back down through your hands, back into your pinky fingers, and back up into your belly. So notice the cycling of energy, the cycling of breath. Breathing in and up, feeling the expansion across your chest, out through your shoulder blades, down through the heads of the humerus, the arm bones, out through the armpits, through the elbows, down along the forearms, back into the wrists, back into your hands, into your pinkies, and back into your abdominals. Inhale. Feel it expand, and exhale, feel it move. Down the arms, back to your hands, back into your belly. And just another round or two here where you can feel that movement of your belly and your hands connecting upper to lower, outer to inner. And then we're just going to uncurl the fingers and press your hands together at your chest, Namaste Mudra or the Anjali Mudra, and just take a moment here and press it all together with your palms, holding everything there at your heart, all of that lovely energy, and then bow to yourself and tell yourself thank you.